thank you so very much for being a part of the documentary for our Voice in Action program. For the record, we want to make sure that we get your name and your title, if you can tell us at this point.
My name is Donshon Wilson. I am the Administrator of Communications for the East Cleveland City School District, and I'm also the marching band director at Shaw High School.
Okay, and if you can, and if I have some questions for you.
Okay.
And if you want me to repeat it, I'll be more than happy. The ones that are extensive, I'll repeat those.
Okay.
Just to start off, we want to ask you the first question. Tell me about yourself and the history of your family.
About myself. Well, I was raised by my mom. I never knew my dad. I saw him probably one time when I was probably 4 years old. And I just remember seeing him once, and I've never seen him again. So my mom, she was married to my stepdad, and he pretty much raised me until about the age of, well, and pretty much until he passed away. So pretty much was raised single-parently by moms who did, I think she did a phenomenal job with me and my two sisters. I'm the middle child. I'm the only boy. So I have two sisters, one in front and one behind.
Okay. Also, can you think of a time looking back in your earlier memories of East Cleveland? And can you tell us what was life like then?
Wow. East Cleveland was the place to raise a family and enjoy living. I remember before we moved to East Cleveland, from Cleveland, my mom was always saying she wanted to buy a home in East Cleveland and wanted us to attend East Cleveland City Schools. So that dream became a reality for her in 1979. She was able to purchase a home here in East Cleveland, actually on Orinoco Avenue. And from that point on, we were enrolled in East Cleveland City Schools.
Okay. What year was that? Guesstimate?
1979.
Okay. Good memories?
Oh, great memories.
Okay.
We call it back in the day. It's funny to say that now because coming up, you always heard people talk about back in the day, but now being able to be affiliated in the city and seeing the transformation, how the city have changed, it's different.
Okay. What are your fondest memory of East Cleveland?
My fondest memory of East Cleveland, Shaw High School marching band.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about it. Expand on it.
Me and a couple of friends, we always admired the marching band. Being, in the fourth grade elementary school, they would come down, march down the street to the game. And the stadium at that time, Chambers Elementary, was built, was a part of the stadium.
Okay.
And you had a big wall that was sitting there, and then you had these metal doors that would lock. And if you didn't have a ticket or it was sold out, you couldn't see the game like you can now.
Okay.
You can just ride down the street and see. So it was always that, I guess, if you will, that experience to want to be a part of, to be inside of it. So I just recall me and a couple of friends, putting on chitlin buckets and whatever kind of buckets we can get, and with our belts on, imitating the drum line at Shaw High School. Okay. So that was one of my fondest memories.
Okay. In what way has the city changed over time? What do you think contribute to those changes in East Cleveland?
Drugs.
Okay. Anything else?
Pretty much, I just think when the drugs came in, probably the mid-'80s, it affected a lot of families, a lot of businesses, just the whole community.
Okay. Any particular community you think it affected more than others?
I mean, of course, the city of East Cleveland, we were a small city, so it's kind of easy for, I guess, the drug dealers to do a lot of distributing drugs here, and it got a hold of some of these families who, apparently experienced those drugs, and it took a toll on them. Homeowners and families things like that. Saw a lot of that negativity growing up.
This is a two-part question. How has race or racism impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Well, in what regards, are you speaking of?
Meaning like race, color of a person's skin, or racism, being an African American as a whole. How has that affected you personally, or affected East Cleveland? Was it Caucasians at one point, and then it turned to blacks? How did that affect the city? Did you see the transformation of people moving in and moving out because of the color of your skin?
Well, when I moved here in East Cleveland, it was predominantly of African American individuals here in the city. But however, just learning the history of the city, once upon a time it was all predominantly Caucasian families living in the city. Like I said, when I was here, it was predominantly African American, although there were a few Caucasians that were still living in the city. Actually, there was an individual on the street that I lived on, and I forget her name, but she was the first house on that street on Orinoco when it was a dirt road.
Okay.
And this was probably, she would sit out and tell us the story. It's probably like 1981.
1981?
Yeah, and she was an older lady. She lived by herself. So that's pretty much my only experience as far as race, the differences in the race, because I only experienced that of our people.
Okay. And so you never felt racist impact
Oh, no.
on yourself personally?
No.
So you don't have any memory of that at this point?
Not here in the city, no.
Okay. How has inequality impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city of East Cleveland, the inequality of maybe jobs or education or health, not having it in the city? How has that impacted you?
Well, the way it impacts me now is because I see the results by me being in education and being around a lot of the students and families. I see of course, the economy has changed. The lack of jobs, pretty much also, and the lack of education has contributed to a lot of those factors here in the city.
Anything else so you're saying that it affected, you see individually and as a city it has affected the whole?
Yeah, of course. With the city, I mean, you see, again, you look at the structures of the homes are deteriorating because no one is taking care of them. You see a lot of businesses are leaving the city, so tax revenue are not being collected. So in turns, it has a trickle-down effect on the entire city.
Can you recall a memory or incident when the community fought for something? There's a whole
Well, I mean, I kind of chuckle at that. There was a situation that involved myself with the City of East Cleveland School District. There was a strike getting ready to take place, and it was pretty much jeopardized my job. Me losing my job as band director, although I was only a substitute teacher.
Okay.
But the community, after they had, I guess, dismissed me from my job, the community had came together and rallied the support for them to overturn, the Board of Education overturn that decision.
How was that experience? How long did it go on for that experience to happen and the overturn? And how was that experience for you, the beginning, middle, and the end?
It was frustrating.
Okay.
It was frustrating because of the simple fact that at that particular time, like I said, I was a substitute. I didn't see where I was played a major role into the finances in the district. And pretty much as far as the marching band, I wasn't getting paid to be the band director. You know, I was pretty much volunteering my time. So that's where the frustration sat in, that I think it was more personal at the time that it happened. And just going through that, I just stayed in prayer. And, after they overturned it, the Oversight Commission overturned it, we had representation from a lot of community members, a lot of parents, even from the office of the late Stephanie Tubb Jones. Office had representation on my behalf. So that was a humbling experience for me.
And was that experience, how long did it take? And of course, you won at the end. You was the winner.
Yeah, well, I guess if you want to say winner in that instance, the community won, the students won, and I just feel as though I was just still being a tool here. It took approximately about 2 weeks.
You wouldn't want to relive that again?
No, absolutely. Absolutely not.
Okay. And we just wanted to know, how has the surrounding institutions and city impacted East Cleveland?
Well, like I said, from my experience, there's a lot of businesses that move. We do have University Heights down the street, who, as of right now, I believe the city's administration is partnershiping with a lot of those entities, in Cleveland Clinic. So I know for right now there's a great deal of opportunities here for the city to start the rebuilding process with a lot of, we have a lot of new businesses in the city now. Patty's Express, for instance, a couple of stores that are being opened.
Okay, so you can see the move up.
Oh yeah, we can see the move up. I mean, we've been down so much, and I think it's the only other way to go is up for the city.
Okay. This is a two-part question, and I'll repeat it. It says, what is your vision for a future of East Cleveland? And the second part, tell us about the major issues that needs addressed in order to better your neighborhood, community, or city. Repeat, what is your vision for a future of East Cleveland? And tell us about the major issues that need addressing in order to better the neighborhood, community, or city.
My vision for the city is, for one, I would love to see the education of the school district, as far as it relates to scores and things like that, rise up. Although we're taking steps forward educationally, academically, a lot of the crime that's going on, don't want to see that anymore. And I think it's all due to the lack of education, or lack of knowing, or the knowledge of our history, our past, who we are as a people, what other positive things that we can achieve. And your next question, the other question?
And the other
how can we achieve those?
The other part of the question, tell me about your major issue that need to be addressed to make a better neighborhood, or community, or city.
I think awareness, like I said, awareness, and I think it starts with not just as it relates to education as far as the students, but also educating the parents on their rights and the laws. I think there's a lot of misrepresentation of what parents believe their rights are. For instance, if you look at other suburban communities, the parents know their rights. So, for instance, you have the academic portion of the school, or something is going wrong. They understand their power in voting and their right to vote, to remove things that are not right, or they think that's not right from the city. I think that's the major part of it that I would like to see change.
Meaning more awareness?
knowledge-based.
Knowledge-based,
Yeah.
okay.
And again, I think with the new administration here, the city's administration, I think we're going in the right direction as it relates to the new judge. He's come to the school system and partnered with the school system as it relates to keeping the students away from the actual system of the the jails, the incarcerations and things like that, keeping them aware of the laws and the rights. I think the students, just from my experience with some of the students, they just don't know they don't know the law as it relates to them and how it can have an overwhelming impact on their life, on what they're going to do and what they can't do by the choices they make.
The next question and the last question is, and I'm so excited about you being a part of this, what would you be prepared to do to participate in making East Cleveland better?
Well, I think for the most part, I think I'm doing my part, being in administration with the East Cleveland City School District, being an advocate in the community as it relates to the marching band, and just showing the positive side of East Cleveland as it relates to, for one, our teenagers who get a bad rap, our parents. We take kids out of town to competitions and things like that, and people wouldn't know that we was from, unquote, quote, East Cleveland, the city of East Cleveland, by the way that we instill the discipline upon them. Their academics are up. The students have a knowledge base of who they are. They're going off to colleges and universities. So I think for that aspect of it, I'm doing my part personally here, but on a larger scale, I just think when you look at the community, it's not a lot of togetherness. You over here in this corner, and I'm using myself as an example, and somebody else is over here, but collaboratively, we never really come together to make a move or a movement. We come together for a rally, to rally this or to rally that, but it's nothing after the fact, no substance behind it. A continuation of that, like I said, making it a movement instead of just something to do, a hoop and a holler. So I would be willing to be a part of that.
Okay. Anything in one particular in mind that you would change if you had your choice, a magic wand? It's just Jeannie Joy question. What would you change? What would be your magic wand change? One in particular that you would suggest or change?
Wow, that's a difficult question to ask, but just at the top, I would like to change the way a lot of our students and a lot of our parents think. I think how unmotivated a lot of students and parents that I see are. I mean, they think it's here, they have to settle. If I can just, get them to see the next level and then show them how to get or to, aspire to that next level, I think that would be my choice.
Just two closing questions, and then we can take an opportunity to see the wonderful display you have, and maybe look at the backdrop that we have that you had since January 25th, 2008. And if I'm understanding you correctly, it's like raising the bar.
Yes. Raising
the bar.
Exactly.
A lot of people can see the bar jumping over it, but they don't know how to. I think that how to is missing.
Exactly.
Right. Or don't know there's another life.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are just in their own community. And a lot of people have never been downtown or out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're surrounded, they think that's
it. Exactly.
That's it. And it's them against us. Is that what you're seeking to say?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's why I say with the marching band, I'm able to use the marching band as a draw and as a tool to be able to allow those students and parents to see things other than what they see around. When we go out of town to other states, and we go and travel. They see, for instance, the students see kids their age, look like them, talk like them, but they're doing something different. They're doing something different. Parents, we when we go to places, we try to take a tour, not just to the expensive homes, but you know, the middle class homes and families where they can see nice grass in the yard, you know, just some of the things that they can aspire to want to become.
And what are their reaction on their face when you see it that brings a smile to your face?
I can recall the first time we were able to take a trip. And our first trip as band director, we took the students to Montgomery, Alabama, to the Turkey Day Classic. That's a college, historically black college university football game with Alabama State University and Tuskegee University. And we were driving, we had a charter bus, and we were driving down 71, 75 South. And one of the students said, she was looking out the window, and she said, wow, we're going through North Carolina. I never seen North Carolina before. So at that moment, it just a light bulb clicked on. And then I said, that's going to be my MO, is to take these kids out of the city and to show them different places and different things that they not only able to see on the map or on television, but they can get the hands-on experience themselves.
This is my closing question, then we'll get to the wonderful display you have here. With you being at the age you are, and I just say young compared to other people, you're so
Thank
knowledgeable. What have you had one person or several people who was under your leadership prior to you taking, or the beginning of your position as a band leader, that's you really proud of today? Can you name several people that, or one person?
Under my leadership?
Right, was under your leadership, and now they're doing extremely well.
One in particular this day, I mean, I have a lot of successful students that was under me as band director, my students, but one in particular is this young lady, Erica Walker. She was an individual, very shy and timid when she first joined the marching band, and she brought into the philosophy of academics first, discipline, academics. She went on to, she was a student speaker. I think she was third or fourth in her class, student speaker here at graduation. She's at Bethune-Cookman College, and well, it's Bethune-Cookman University. And she's Miss Bethune-Cookman University. She's also a proud new member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. And she's just doing phenomenal, you know. And I remember when she was here, she was going through a lot of personal challenges she had as it relates to family and things of that nature. You know, but she's one that stand out, you know, because despite what she's been through and despite her situation, she still wanted to achieve, you know, a lot of great goals. She's even come to Cleveland on her off time and had internships at, I believe, Channel 5 with Danita Harris and, you know, Fox 8 with Wayne Dawson. So.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we have here, the trophies? Can you name the instruments, and then we can just go back for the backdrop we have for the.
Well, this is just a small portion of our trophies, and they are dear to us. They are actually trophies for us as it relates to competitions and things that we do. And we kind of use this philosophy and tie that in with the students in the classroom. We're in a competition pretty much every weekend.
Yes.
And so we prepare for that competition starting on Monday, Tuesday. So the philosophy behind that is the same philosophy that I ask the students to use in the classroom. You usually have a test on Friday. We prepare 4 to 5 hours a day just to get the competition. And your competition in the classroom is that test or passing the class. And these trophies, since I've been band director, and since we started doing competitions, and we probably have probably a 99% first place trophies. I can recall maybe 2 or 3 second place trophies since we've been involved in competition. These are competitions in Ohio, out of the state of Ohio, from Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, New Orleans, Chicago, Michigan, all over the place. So we take pride in being number one. It's a hard thing to do, but the students, they kind of become my heroes because of the hard work and the dedication and the commitment that they put into what they do here.
Which one is the latest one that's here? That's one of the latest ones.
Let's see. CIC. Okay, we just won. This one was this past spring. We were in Trotwood, Ohio. It's right outside of Dayton. Okay. And we took first place in that competition this past spring. These instruments here are brass instruments. We pride ourselves on being an all brass band. So that means we don't have the woodwind instruments, the saxophones, the clarinets, things like that. So we're pretty much an all brass band, which consists of the trumpets. This is a mellophone, the trombone, the sousaphone, and the euphonium horn.
And in closing, how many years does one student stay under your leadership? Just duration of it, when they get to Shaw till they graduate, what is the beginning and ending?
Well, we've been fortunate enough to have a magnet to the students. Once they join, they're in, whether it's the 9th, 10th, or 11th. We really don't take 11th graders going to the 12th grade, but 8th graders going to the 9th. I have a student that I allowed to join the band. He was in the 6th grade when he joined. And it's a long story, but I don't know if we have time for that story, but I'll try to make it short. We were out practicing outside at Prospect Elementary School, and this student come up to me and he said, "Hey, Mr. Wilson, how you doing?" He introduced himself to me and said he wanted to join the band. I asked him how old was he, what grade he was in. He said, "I'm in the 6th grade." I said, "Okay, well, you got a couple more years. By the time you're in the 8th grade, come and see me." So went on back to practice, and he stood around. After we had a break, he came back over. He said, "Mr. Wilson, I really want to be in the band." He said, "I need something to do because I don't want these streets to get the best of me." And at that point, I just, it just clicked like, wait a minute, I need something for him to do. So I started allowing him to carry my bags. He was like the water boy of the band, things like that. He was in school, getting suspended every other week, throwing desks and chairs, got into the program, and this kid turned his life around. The highest grade point average when he graduated from Heritage Middle School, Martin Luther King Jr. recipient. He's in the 10th grade now. He's in the band now. He also went over to China with us. We took a 6th grader over to China with us. Well, he was in the 7th grade then. So he's my project. But he's been doing a phenomenal. He's still carries I believe a 4.0 GPA. So.
I know your mom is just proud of you. Taking all these kids are being so young, that's what is amazing to me.
Yeah, she tells me that a lot, but my mom always taught us to be humble, and she was that way. I mean, being a single parent and to buy our own home in East Cleveland back in the late 70s, and she was always a go-getter. And despite some of the situations that she went through as a parent, as an adult, she didn't allow us to pretty much want for anything. She took care of us,
It's a beautiful thing. Can we go in the back just to wrap it up, just to see and why this particular backdrop that you have and it's so memorable to you?
Well, because that was a Plain Dealer article that was taken by us going over to being invited to the Olympics over in Beijing, China.
Before or after?
This was before. This was before we went over.
Okay.
To actually this article here helped catapult us over to the funding that we needed to go. I think we needed $250,000, and when this article came out, it really helped us meet our goal.
And 3 closing questions for that particular one. Were you surprised of how many people stepped up? What was the part, that's number 1, and the second question, what was the part that said, wait a minute, whoa, this is just too mind-boggling for me. This
Wow.
was a tearjerker.
Yes, exactly.
It seems like you still get full.
Yeah, I do, because at that particular time, I had already contacted a lot of the corporations to meet the minimum that we needed to go was the $250,000. So, you know, it was kind of hard, but I was doing my homework and researching. Went to Key Corps, met with Diversified Realty, Parker Hannafin, Fifth Third Bank, a lot of those corporations that were on board with us. But I got a call from the treasurer's office. No, I'm sorry, from Chambers Elementary to come over and get some mail. And I thought it was a couple of envelopes. It was a huge basket full of mail where people was just sending donations and donations. And that continued on for probably a month. And pretty much out of the 50 states, I want to say I've opened letters at least from 46 states in the United States, from just people wanting to support a lot of Shaw alumni. Back in the day, Shaw alumni. Also, we had a few other countries, people from Shaw that was living in other countries had also sent, you know, we received mail from there. So that was just, it was overwhelming. One in particular, the big donations was great, and we were very, very blessed and fortunate for those, but we had a kid send us $3 because that was his allowance, and he wanted to see us go over to Beijing, China. And that right there just put it over the top for me. I said, wow, just to see that many people get behind, because I was under that impression too, you know, that no one's going to help us too much in East Cleveland because of this stereotype or that stereotype. But apparently from what we were able to accomplish with the marching band and keeping our integrity up high and keeping the kids the way that, you know, people wanted to receive them, I think that helped out.
Who was the mastermind behind stating, let's bring it to the community and ask for more? Who was the mastermind behind that?
Oh, and she's going to be upset with me. Connie Schultz. Connie Schultz was the Plain Dealer reporter that asked to do the story. And that's what put us over in the community. We were doing radio advertisements and things like that. I was pretty much on every television channel. But that newspaper article and the way she presented it, it blew everybody away.
But I guess my point is, when you got the call, you were one of the band, and you stated they told you how much money it would take. Mm-hmm. They gave you a figure, correct? Right. Mm-hmm. And you knew you had to go and raise this money, correct?
Yes.
So you started to do it on your own with other people?
No, I started to do it on my own.
Period.
Okay. Like I said, I went to the corporations first because that was my, you know, I didn't think the little small tickets, the 50 to 25 and the $10 would add up. So I was looking, it was a large amount. So I went, and it was, you know, you have to go through the secretary, the vice presidents of the vice presidents before you know, I was able to get to the top key people. So it was a lot of hard work, but I was determined.
So you knew how to do that from where? From who? From your mom? Or how did you know what to do? How did you know?
Just being able to be presentable, and you have to always have they said a 30-second speech, a 3-minute, and a 3-hour. So okay. That was a lot of the 30-second speech was going to get me in the door. And if they had time, I would give them the 3-minute. If they invited me back, they was going to get the whole presentation.
All right, now praise the Lord. Because I can remember watching you on TV and just sitting in my living room, and I said, that is amazing. I can see you talk. I don't remember what show, and I could just feel you talking, like you was talking personally to me, and how you was saying and what y'all was doing, and I was overwhelmed, and I said, I know you overwhelmed. That's been how many years ago now? At least 4.
4, yeah.
At least 4 years ago. At one point, did you ever just get teary-eyed? I can feel you now that you.
Wow.
That
Yes, it was Key Bank. We had a perform. They wanted us to perform. Actually, they asked me to be their keynote speaker for their leadership conference, and they asked the band to perform. And we performed, and all of the presidents around the nation was here. The vice presidents for whatever branch they were from each state was here in the city of Cleveland. And after that leadership conference, after the band performed, just to see the people face as they stood up, standing ovation, clapping, and I got up to speak, and I guess that's when it hit me that we were going to China. And everyone came out and and applauded the kids. We were in another little room. They were getting ready to eat breakfast because it was early in the morning, and I had to step out because I felt I was brought up, boys don't cry, suck the tears up, and I was sitting there and I felt this explosion getting ready to happen, and I stepped outside the door to the elevator, and I was trying and I just couldn't hold it. It was like a thunderstorm, and the kids like, oh, he's crying, and a couple of parents and a few of the people from Key Bank, and I couldn't, that was it. It felt good though.
Right. And you came back and did your presentation.
Came back, yeah, everything was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my closing question is, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do different?
The Beijing, China trip?
Just
Period. Wow. Well, of course, there's a lot of bumps in the road.
Yes, sir.
Getting to everything together to get to Beijing, China. Just getting our, the balls rolling and getting people to believe that it was an actual true thing that we were, invited to go over. I don't know if I would probably try to, if the opportunity presented itself, I would try to enjoy myself more. There.
Because you told me about what
Right.
your parents said.
Right,
So you,
right.
like, was on edge at every
Right.
moment, looking around. Okay, I got to bring everybody back.
Right.
I got to keep everything together.
So I really couldn't enjoy China like everyone else did.
Right.
So I would like to one day go back and be able to enjoy it. Like I said, I was just a little nervous, taking, you had all the news, you had everyone looking and watching, and I didn't want anything to happen, anything negative. We were sitting on Tiananmen Square, and we were walking around, and the kids were kind of tired, and they got ready to sit down, and the guards came up with their, their guns, and said we had to get up because that's a sign we didn't know was a sign of protest there.
Okay.
And it was a little different, but over, it was great. The Great Wall.
How many people were with you?
Total, total I believe it was 78.
78. They treated you very well?
Oh yeah. China was great, phenomenal country. They made me look at our country and the things that we do totally different, because the things that we take for granted are the things that make them, that they pay attention to, that makes them who they are.
Mr. Wilson, I want to give you an opportunity to look in the camera and just give us some closing remarks that you would like for us to always keep as East Cleveland as the documentary. As you know, this is a Voice in Action program with Case Western Reserve with Dr. Rhonda Williams, and it's a phenomenal opportunity to be here with you and interview you. And if you could just tell the nation, because I just personally feel that it's going to be a national Nobel Peace Prize, and you being a piece of the Peace Prize, can you just look in the camera and just give us some closing remarks and speak from your heart and just let people know what you feel, think, and if you have to say something, what would you say? Because this is definitely going to be an all-star.
Look, now you got me all nervous. You know? No, but first of all, I would just like to say thank you for the opportunity from Case Western Reserve. Humbly excited to be a part of this phenomenal project here, and I'm going to hope and pray that everything goes as well as you know, you guys want it to go. One thing that I would like to say is just you know, continue to strive. I mean, all the young students out there, even the parents, stop putting stop signs on us. Stop clouding our vision and achieve for those goals, achieve to the stars. You know, if you keep your ceiling high enough, you know, you're going to continue to keep trying to reach it. But if you keep your ceiling low, once you get there, where are you going to go? So keep your ceiling up high. The sun is always shining. Even in those bad times, I always act like I get on the airplane, because if you ever ridden on the airplane, once you get above the clouds, the sun is always shining. So it's just a temporary thing when you're going through some adversity or whatever like that, but just keep a positive attitude about life.
We want to take the opportunity to say thank you once again. We're so excited about the Voicing in Action program. This is just the beginning. We're looking for this to be definitely an all-star documentary in East Cleveland. And I'm Jeannie Joy. I will be able to tell my story for East Cleveland. I remember East Cleveland used to be Millionaire Row back in the day. And now it, to me, is a different part. But I'm going to keep my humble ground until it's my turn to make a difference and tell my story. Just once again, it's been a pleasing pleasure, well as a privilege just to
Same
be able
here.
to do it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, how you feel about it?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I think it was great.
I almost had to get my tissue out for you.
Oh yeah, you know. I said, not on TV. You know, there was a documentary that a gentleman by the name of Tom Jacobs did on us going to China. Okay. But I don't know if this you all's first one or not, but just one of the things that I noticed, he took it to the film festival, but it really didn't have the meat and gravy with the documentary that it could have had. And I asked him to, because actually the documentary just kind of looks like, you know, oh, we're just getting ready to go to China, kids from East Cleveland. It didn't have, you know how the story got to have that meat and gravy to it. And I asked him to interview, you know, take 3 students and interview them now and come back 4 years. And, you know, it was the young lady I spoke about, Erica. She's one of them. I mean, I want to get off mic first, you know. Right, you know, so you'll have, because I've seen so many documentaries, and I've seen documentaries that kind of stay right here, and I've seen documentaries that go to the next level. And with that meat and gravy, and I said we had a situation with a student telling their stories. I had a student, the parent who came to me at the airport. Right. Okay, that was the successful family, mom and dad at home. He received the Bill Gates Millennium Scholarship to Howard University. So, you know, he was a successful story from the beginning. Then I had the one student, Erica, who parents raised by grandparents, father passed away, mom's incarcerated, you know, still dealing with a lot of problems at home. She was a story that I think it would have brought people to the camera, and you could have felt what was going on. And the other gentleman, no, actually it wasn't him. It was another student, because I wanted to get the seniors. He, single parently, he's now in New York dancing. Wow. So, you know, he's doing it, and all of them getting ready to graduate.
That's 3. Plus the 6th grade would be 4. That's your storyline right there.
And Right now, we just ended with about 60.
So out of the 60, how do they fare graduation-wise? Like if you start off with, say, 10 freshmen, they stay with you straight through graduation, then they go on to college?
Oh, yeah, we have a record since I implemented, our grading policy and study tables. We've been having 99% of our 100% of our students graduate from high school. 99% of them go off to colleges and universities. The other 1% go off to the armed forces. This past year, we've been keeping the stats going. We had 96% of our students on honor and merit roll. So they definitely come into the program and they buy into it. And the things that we're able to teach them, they just don't use it here. They use it at home. They use it the rest of it, like the kids that are in college now. I mean, doing phenomenal. At the time we went over to China, I was in the process of receiving my master's. I was in class. And the only reason why I went to get my master's is because I just felt as though being a role model, a leader, you can't really just talk about it unless you have that background to back it up. And I've been always stressing the kids about, they'll tell you the story about having straight A's or staying on the honor roll. And I tell them now, there was times when I was doing my master's and China was on, the forefront. And I would look at, typing up a paper or whatever at night. Say, you know what, I'm just going to just go on and all I need to do is pass it. And then I thought back, would I allow the students to do that? So I got my master's with a 4.0. Only because of what I was instilling in them. I tried to be that person for the first time, because in high school grades I wasn't, it was just you go to school and you do what you do. It was a fashion show at Shaw back then, so now I'm in the process of getting ready to go after my doctorates, because a lot of my students are in the process of their masters or have their masters. So I said, well, let me take it to the next level, and hopefully they'll follow that too. So.
Man, that's excellent, and that's a storyline in and of itself.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
When they go write the story,
Yeah.
take it to a movie, they can say how you saved them from the streets. None of them went to jail. None of them dropped out. They all went to college, and you'll have 4 stories
Yep.
there. Oh, that's awesome. You should definitely get that guy to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
And follow up with the.
It was supposed to have been, where are they now? After 4 years. After 4 years, what are they doing? These China kids. Well, they called it, the documentary, Mr. Wilson Kids. And but he, he ran out of time, and he was, doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But when I saw the documentary, they showed it at Case. Actually, Case was a partnership behind it. And when I saw it, I said, and, he was like, I'm gonna take it to the film festival, and I just knew, just looking at it, I was like, it was good. But that one just, if he had done it that way, Oprah would have picked that up, because it was a story. It was a tearjerker, but it was a happiness at the end. It was a movie.
Not too late for that.
No.
But I know Case got interns, people that they have to film these short documentaries or short stories for their PhD in film.
Yeah.
So
That's a story.
Case gets a hold of it, and Case wants to pursue it.
Yeah.
And another thing too, three things. I want to let you know, with this being a part of